Interesting. What's up, guys? Okay. Bear with me a second.
But we're also
All right, bear with me a second. I'm trying to get it shared out. Um, let's see. Can I not? Can I not? Hmm. Interesting. So, so I'm live on YouTube. Sorry about the fuzziness. See if it'll let me post. Um, come on, come on. Bear with me a second, guys. Excuse me. Not sure why this thing is being so slow. I gotta sneeze. Ooh, hang on a second. Oh, Um, oh, I gotta sneeze. So, something you guys have been asking me to do for a while, and I just haven't had a chance to really do it. Um, uh, and that's something that, and it's something that you don't see. Well, that is being all kinds of crazy fuzzy tonight. Focus, damn it. Um, damn thing was focusing just fine the other day. Um, and that's art supplies and materials and stuff uh, that we use, or a lot of us use, and uh, and for some reason a lot of people won't share that information. They're very closed off about that. Hang on one second. Let me. My camera looks a little. There we go. All right. A lot of artists. Why is it taking forever to post? Jesus. They're very closed off about that. It's a little better now than it used to be. I remember starting off, 8 years ago, and I would, see these people. Um, doing live videos, YouTube or Facebook or wherever. And, I would always, kind of watch the videos, and I'd ask them in the videos, what, inking tool they're using, or what highlight tool they're using, etc. And um, it was crazy weird, um, how they would guard that. They wouldn't answer you. They wouldn't. I mean, they would even get to the point where, especially with white highlight tools, um, if they were using those in a live video, or video in general, they would turn those tools to where you couldn't read the the name on the pen, or the marker, or whatever the case may be. I mean, it was like that crazy. Um, so, and then they would just ignore your questions, whenever you asked. And that was always the weirdest, you know, thing to me, was people hiding um information like that. It was ridiculous. And like I said, it's gotten a little better over the last few years. But there's still a lot of people that won't answer those questions on a video. So I've had people in the past, saying, hey, at some point, would you do a video, talking about the tools you use and things like that. And a lot of times I don't think about it by the time I get home, or later on when I'm live. I don't think about those questions. Excuse me. But anytime anyone's ever asked me direct, like if I was live doing an art piece, if they asked me something, I'd always show them what I'm using. Or if I'm at a Comic-Con appearance or something like that, I would show them there, when they ask what tool I'm using. So I figured I would just kind of do a little quick video. And for those that are probably wondering why I'm not sharing this video direct to Facebook, Facebook actually has it turned off right now where I can't go live. I made a joke this morning on Lori Calcaterra's live feed about they were talking about having their day getting started with the coffee. And I said, "Yep, I got my coffee and my little white powder." Of course, I said the actual word of the item, and they immediately removed the comment and blocked it to where I couldn't go live. I mean, that's Facebook algorithm for you. You say keywords and stuff, and it just automatically locks you, and you have to go through this whole damn process to get it unlocked. Because the algorithm can't take a damn joke. All this hate being spewed all over social media and all over Facebook, misinformation and hateful comments, and yet I make a joke about coffee and a little bump, and and I get blocked. I get restricted, to where I can't use that I can't go live. Like I can't even share this direct to Facebook. I have to copy the link and share the link to Facebook, and you guys have to come watch me on YouTube. If you're here, say hi in the comments. It should show up. Hopefully, I've never actually went live just on YouTube. Um, okay, I just got a message from somebody. Michael said that they can't comment on the YouTube. Let me see what's up with that. Bear with me a second, guys. See if I can see some kind of setting. Like I said, I've never really went live, uh, from here. Playback, lock screen, more. How do you turn comments on YouTube? I didn't even know comments were turned off. Um, Shit, how do you fix that? Bear with me a moment, guys. Let's see. How do you go to settings? All right, let's see. Is it under maybe general? Bear with me a second, guys. I apologize. Uh, hmm. Maybe it's under live chat. Hmm. I mean, there's live chat, but shit. Bear with me a second, guys. I mean, hmm. Am I going to have to I shouldn't have to restart it, should I? Um, Bear with me a second, guys. I apologize. I didn't even know chat was turned off on my YouTube channel. Um, Jeez, what the hell? Does anyone know? Does anyone know where in settings you turn chat on? What the hell? Says Michael. Thank you, Michael. Michael said Google says go to settings, community, and default. All right, community. Um, I don't see anything under settings that say community. Um, uh, I'm so sorry, guys. I had no clue it was turned off. I don't even know why it would have been turned off. Yeah, I don't see anything under settings that says community. Um, I am so sorry, guys. Um, what the hell? Um, all right, let me try on the actual video, maybe. Let me see if that's got settings. Quality, playback, lock screen, more. No, nothing under that either. What the hell? Oh my God. Freaking technology, dude. All right, let me look at. I appreciate you guys trying to help me. Who's trying to help me? Go to YouTube Studio. I wonder if I have to do it from a desktop and I can't do it from my app. Hang on one second. Let me see if it might be something that is, because sometimes there's settings, that are on your desktop that are not on an app. Okay, so so bear with me, guys. I apologize. I'm so sorry. Um, let's see. It's not under there. Oh my God. Well, that is annoying. Hang on one second. Let me look at this photo he sent. It's always something. It is always something. Um, all right, let me look under YouTube Studio. Um, all right, here we go. Comments on new videos. How the hell do you turn the comments on? It's blacked out. Is it really going to not? Is it really seriously going to make me? Hmm. Oh my God. Wow. Talk about stupid. Um, I mean, it should just be a simple, thing. This is ridiculous. Um, Says you open up the YouTube Studio, select content, okay. Click the thumbnail of the video you want to edit. Okay. I'm gonna show more under comments and ratings. Allow all comments, but it's blacked out. It won't let me. Yeah, it's blacked out. It won't let me. Wow. Okay. I wonder, do I have, like I said, I've never really looked at my YouTube channel. So I'm wondering, do I have it set maybe for anyone to be able to watch my videos and therefore, all right, let me change it to, I had it set to where like anyone. So let me see if maybe that's what it was. Ah, yep, that's what it was. Okay, somebody say something and let's see if it's working. So apparently, and thank you, Michael Gardner and V for trying to help on that. So somebody comment for me and see if the comments are coming through now. Um, let's see who can comment. Anyone? Comments are on. It's safe. Should be working now. All right. You may have to refresh. Ah, there we go. Okay, it took my comment. So apparently, if you have your channel set to where anyone can watch the damn thing, you can't comment. Interesting. So you have to change it to not safe for children. Like, okay. Yeah, you have to close it out and come back in. But yeah, comments from YouTube should be working now. I apologize for that. Normally I share it to YouTube and my two Facebook pages, but I can't go live on Facebook right now. I made a joke this morning on Lori Calcaterra's live video early this morning. They were talking about coffee and stuff. I said, "Oh yeah, I'm wired and ready to go. I've had my coffee and my bump, but I said the word and they immediately removed the word and they restricted me to where I can't go live on Facebook right now. I was like, because the algorithm doesn't know what a damn joke is. It just sees the word apparently and it automatically locks you out. I can post and everything, thank goodness, but I just can't go live. And I can't share a live video to Facebook from StreamYard. I have to copy the link and share the link of my YouTube channel on from StreamYard. So stupid crap. But anyway, so as I was saying earlier, that's something I've personally dealt with. and you know, with artists and people not wanting to share their information about what tools they work. Um, yeah, like it's such a dumbass thing because you have people posting all kinds of hateful crap, you know, calling for violence and calling for uprisings and all kind of you know, incorrect information and non-factual bull crap for clicks, you know, just spewing hate in general, and yet those people are fine. You know, even some of his live videos they're sharing, and then here we are, you know, the algorithm can't take a damn joke. But anyway, you know, I've had people ask me, I always share if I'm live and working on stuff, you know, I'll show them what tools I'm using when they ask. I just really hadn't ever thought about doing a video, even though people have kind of mentioned it every so often. So I figured I'd just kind of go live real quick and share some of the tools I use on a daily basis. And as you can see, I use a lot of different stuff. um, Pencil wise, we'll start with the beginning. I have two types of 2 millimeter lead pencils. So they have they have these leads that are replaceable, and you have to use one of these to sharpen it. I love these tools. I use two types of hardness though. One is like I think like a 2H, so it's a harder lead, so it's very light. I use that for sketching and laying out stuff, which is why sometimes when you guys see me live working on stuff, you can't really see the pencils very well because it's just meant to lay it down real light. But this is how you know, you sharpen it. You can buy these at Michael's, Hobby Lobby, but it's a Stedler 2 millimeter lead holder, and so I have one, like I said, that's like like a 2H or something. So it's a harder lead for light sketching. And then I have like a normal HB or 2B type of lead, and the other one for the darker lines. Once I have my design laid out, then I go in with the darker lead to start laying my details. So, like I said, you can get those at, you know, Michael's, Hobby Lobby. I would suggest, in my personal opinion, getting two and carrying it that way. Put a, you know, 2H lead, a harder lead in one for your light sketching and layout designs, and then a 2B or an HB in the other one for your darker lines. Now, I do use mechanical pencils too. So I use Stedler, you know, graphite gear from Stedler, or graph gear from Pentel. I mean, so I use those also, but I also use so I've got a couple of those I use, and so they're both graph gears from Pentel. One is a 005 HB, 005 HB lead mechanical pencil. That's a zero point 0.05 for fine detail. And then I have a 0.07 Stedler mechanical pencil with HB lead in it. That's a 0.07 for thicker lines and heavier lines. I do have a 0.03 also. Um, it's so there's a 0.03 version too. So I use the 0.03 when I'm doing eyes and the thinner lines on hair, you know, versus the thicker lines. So yeah, I usually use the 0.03 anytime I'm doing the face. So that's where that comes in. Now, as far as inking tools go, I don't really use a brush. I don't use a quill. My absolute main inking tool I use for 90% of my art, whether it's for cover work or whether I'm doing sketch covers like this right here, you know, and things like that. This is my go-to ink. I absolutely love it. It's a medium tip. You probably won't be able to see that too well, but there it is. But it's a little flexible. So I can get these really thin lines with it, but then I can give a little pressure and go into wider lines and stuff like that. But this is the Tombow Fudenosuke. I'm sure I'm not saying that right, but that's what that is. But it's a Tombow brush pen. Not in the traditional brush pen types with the big brush. It's just it's very it's very stiff, but it has some flex to it. So it has a lot of control to it, you know, in general. But that's one of them I use. I use that for the majority of what I do. There's another version too, the Tombow. It's a little bit bigger tip. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that one's another version. So there's like a small tip, a medium tip, and I'm sure there's probably a large tip, but that's the two I use. Now I do also mix in some microns. I really don't use them very often, like that Tombow. I mean that Tombow pen does so good. These are handy though. If you want some thicker lines around the edges and stuff, steady thick lines. So so like the 0.08 or the 0.0 or the 0.5 or the 0.8 of the microns, they work great if you're needing to do stuff with rulers and stuff. So you have that steady line thickness going down through there. So I use that. I've got a few pens in here that I've tried out and they're so. Like this one is the Master Touch brush pen. So it's an actual brush pen. I've tried it every once in a while. It's not a bad tool, but it's something I don't use very often. Like I said, that Tombow is one I use, I mean, like all the time. As far as white pens go, this one here has been one of the best ones I have found. It has like a medium, maybe this might be considered small tip, but it's probably, I would consider it more of a medium. But it's great for highlights. It's great for those little dots or those little highlight lines. It's got a very stiff tip on it. But it is an acrylic paint marker. And it's a 0.07 tip. So I would they consider it extra fine. Yeah, it is. I mean, it is a very solid tip on it, very fine tip. They consider it a fine tip. I'd probably consider it more of a medium, but it's great. It's great for putting dots in eyes. It's great for putting dots on metal rivets. It's great for putting highlight lines on stuff. I'm trying to find the damn name of it. But it's a 0.0. I'm sorry, a 0.7 extra fine. Who the hell makes it? Does it seriously don't have a manufacturer? I don't see shit. I don't see anything. Holy crap. Yeah, there's no, unless acrylic painter is the name, which I guess could be. I don't even know if you'll be able to see that. But see there, it says acrylic painter on it. I don't even know if you can see that. But anyway, that's really good. And I'm pretty sure I probably got this at Michael's. That's usually where I buy most of my tools is locally. I'll go hit Michael's, but that's one of the, and it's a very, very dominant white. So like I said, this is one of the most kept secrets I discovered. People didn't ever want to tell you what kind of white pens they were using for highlights. I mean, like, I'm not shitting you. When I first got started and I was asking about tools that I saw people using on live videos or YouTube videos, they would take the white ones, especially the white pens, the highlight pens, they would turn those to where you couldn't read the label on them. That's how damn guarded and stupid the crap was. The other thing I do use a good bit is a white color pencil from Prismacolor. I'll use this because where that's given a real harsh white, this can give me a little bit lighter of a white in certain highlight areas that I might want. What's up, V? Thank you guys for the help on that, you and Michael. My YouTube channel was set to where anybody could watch it. So apparently if you have it set to anyone, they won't allow comments to happen. You have to take it off. You have to list your thing is not recommended for children in order to do it. But you do use a Prismacolor white pencil to get those highlights. That's more of a dulled down white highlight. Now, the other one that just came out like last year, I love these. Normally, I hate Sharpie pens because they're always trash. And the round nibbed version of this isn't much better than the regular Sharpie. But this version, the Sharpie acrylic paint markers that has the actual brush tip, these are great. These are so good. The whole set of these, of the brush tip now, not the rounded nibs. You have to pay attention when you buy these. There's two versions. One's a round nib. That damn thing doesn't work half the time. The brush pens, though, you can get them in a pack that has multiple colors. These are great for doing remarks on the covers of books. These are great for doing highlights on pieces when you need to do highlights. And I'll show you like an example. I don't know how well you can see that, but you see those highlights? That's done with that Sharpie pen. So it's a very strong white, so you do have to be relatively careful with it. But that's a good one. The Sharpie brush pen, the acrylic brush pen. That's a great one. Now, another one I'll use every once in a while, and this was the go-to for a long time, just the Jelly Roll white pens. I still use it occasionally. They're okay. That acrylic painter is hands down the best one I've seen, especially for putting dots. The brush pen is one of the best ones I've seen. The jelly ones, I hardly ever use that one anymore. It's really and truly kind of rotating itself out. You know. Now, I do have a couple of bigger brush pens. So, the classic, Kuretake brush pens. And I'll use like the medium tip, or it might be a large tip, but I think it's a medium tip. I don't use it very often, but it's great for splatter effects. It's great for blurry kind of fade out effects. I also use the red version of it for splatter, blood splatter, things like that. It creates a really beautiful red. Also, I think when I did the red in his eyes, I believe I used this tool, and then I used a darker Copic marker to create the shadows. But it's a good tool. You have to be careful though, and a heads up on this. So I color when I do sketch covers for people. I use Copic markers. They're alcohol markers. I have almost a full set of Copics, 342 or 345 is a full set, and I've got almost a full set. I think I'm about 25 or so colors from a full set. So I use strictly Copic markers. You have to be stupid careful with any inking tools. Now, me personally, one of the reasons I absolutely love the Tombow Fudenosuke Tombow brush pen. I can ink something with this and go over it with Copic markers, and it never smears, as long as it's a true blank. If you get any of those slick blanks or shit, you're going to be in trouble. Microns, they're not supposed to smear with alcohol markers, but be super damn careful because they will. A lot of artists, and I'll do it sometimes. Now sometimes it's certain colors that you'll see that happen with, so you got to be careful with. Skin tone, you have to be super careful with. Yellows or any of those real brighter colors, you have to be careful with. Now, some artists, especially when it comes to skin tones, they'll take their pencil work and they will, if it's a fully rendered pencil piece, they'll lay the colors down on top of the pencils and then lay the inks. And even in that scenario, you have to be careful because you have to make sure you maybe go over it with a kneaded eraser to pull up some of that pencil off of the design, because the pencil can also smear colors like skin tone or excuse me, colors like skin tone and yellow and such can smear the pencils also. So you have to be careful with that. These are just like Kuretake or whatever they're called, brush pens. Now this one, the red one, is actually Pentel. But I think they're called like Kuretake or something like that. But you could probably search Pentel brush pens. Now, a lot of people absolutely love, where is it? Did I not? Yeah. So a lot of people, a lot of artists love Pentel pocket brush pens. You can get them with super fine tips, you know. If you want to learn how to use a brush, a brush and a dip ink is usually your best, because that's going to be the blackest blacks you can get when you get the right type of ink for brush pens or even quill work. But that's a whole nother ball game that you got to learn to do. You have to learn how to do a brush, an actual brush or quill. And you're not going to learn them in day one. You know what I mean? But a lot of people love this one. And it does really good for filling in some big blacks. And it does really good sometimes if you want those, especially hair, that thin to wide type of maneuver with your wrist, with the weight. But these are refillable. That's why people love them. These right here, these are not refillable in the normal sense. Like this, there's an actual cartridge of ink inside this. You change it out when it's empty. This has ink in the body. Now, you can make these refillable. In my toolbox in there, I have a straight up syringe needle and a big bottle of India black, super black ink. So those, I can take my syringe and needle, stick it down in that ink, fill up the syringe, and then take the end of this off. And there's a little rubber gasket thing that protects from pouring out. And I push my needle through that opening, through that rubber, and I can fill those. So you can fill those. You just need a syringe and a needle to do it. Or if you want, just use those. There's nothing wrong with those. Like I said, they're great tools. But I like the Tombows pens. Definitely make sure you're paying attention to which one you're getting. Like I said, it's the Fudenosuke, Fudenosuke or something like that, but it's Tombow. That's my go-to. I love that pen. I absolutely love it. And now as far as erasers go, jumping back over to pencils, make damn sure you have a mono eraser. This is a 0 mono eraser. Super, super, super small. It's great for getting into tight areas. You'll go through shitloads of these though, so make sure you got plenty of damn extras. Make damn sure you got a classic traditional kneaded eraser. These things are incredible and they're great, for laying your pencil designs down. And when you get ready to ink your product, once you have it the way you want it, use this to erase a lot of the pencil marks. A lot of the pencil, you'll pull it out of the image so it lightens the image up, and then you ink it, and you won't have as many lines showing. And then, of course, I use a traditional, white eraser, to just get rid of crap that I need gone. But the kneaded eraser is really good for lifting pencil residue off your thing. Just be careful, because you can, where you're erasing and you touch, you'll leave other residue. So you got to kind of be mindful of what you're doing there. Now, me personally, I use one of these. This is meant technically for digital art. So your hand moves over your tablet very smooth. So I use one of those, and it helps cut down on my hand smearing pencil marks all over my stuff. Be careful with that though, if you're wearing it while you're still inking stuff. Now, this Pilot, this was a tool that I saw Ryan Benjamin use on his live videos, and he swears by it. He loves it. One side is a super tight, small, flexible tip to where you can get super, super, super thin lines, and you add a little weight and you can thicken those lines, so you can add line weight so it goes from super thin to thicker. And then on the other side, it has a much bigger tip on the other end that helps you fill in a lot of big blacks. This is a great tool if you're just inking something. Don't try to color over this with alcohol markers. It will smear. He doesn't color his stuff at all. All of Ryan Benjamin's stuff, whether it's commissions on blanks or whether it's artwork for publication, he doesn't color anything that I've ever seen. So this pen works great for him. It's got the thicker side for filling in bigger blacks and stuff, and then it has the tip on the other end that's super great for fine detail and line weight and stuff like that. So it is a really good tool. Like the only reason I don't use it very often is because I color a lot of my work. Because a lot of my work I do is commission work for people. But anytime I'm inking something that's going straight to, that's being scanned and going straight to my colorist, I'll use this to save the other, but it is a very good tool. But like I said, Ryan Benjamin uses that one. He swears by it. I've tried other stuff, and it probably, stuff like I can't remember the brand of this, but this is another example of one of those type of pens. Like one side has the small end, and these you can get in multiple, and then it has this big tip on the other. These you can buy in like 3 different versions. I think they come together as a 3-pack. Don't try to color on these, but as far as like inking something that's going to publication that you're just going to ink, scan, and send to a colorist, you might like those. I have no clue what the brand is because it's written in either Chinese or Japanese. What is it? What is that? Yeah. The model number is SFW3AA, I think. God, I can't see. I am so blind. Or maybe that's a 4. I think that's SFW34A. But no clue what the brand is. No name on it. But like I said, that one might work out really well for you to do. Now, I also keep, I do keep brushes because if I'm doing real big black stuff, pour a little of my India ink into a damn cap that came off a medicine bottle, and I'll use that to cover big ground. The ink I use, now the paper I use for publication, for art that's going to be scanned and going to print, that I just use Strathmore. So, or not Strathmore, I'm sorry. I use Canson comic book art page. So you can order that online. Michael's used to carry them. They don't anymore. They quit carrying the damn things, but it's 11 by 17. So this is what it looks like. But I'm sure you can get it off Amazon. But that's what I use for all my cover art for publication. It is the 11 by 17, 150 pound. I don't know what. This one just says artist series. It does have a little bit of a tooth to it. It's not super smooth. Some people like the 300 series. I don't know if they make that anymore for the art boards, but yeah, this is the ink I use for big stuff. So all it is black India ink. It's the super black. So that's that's all I use for that type of stuff. And then, like I said, for markers and everything, I use Copic alcohol markers. I mean, that's really about it. I can't really think of. I mean, that's now rulers. Okay, so this is what I use for that stuff. Hold on. All right, so here's all the the ruler type stuff I use and the circle makers. So standard, you know, medium size all the way down to itty bitties. So I definitely have one of those. I have one for ovals. Then I have, of course, a bigger one for much bigger circles. And you can get all this stuff at Michael's and stuff like that. Then I have another one of those, like the green one I showed you, but just a little bigger. So like smaller, medium, large type of scenario. Um, and then, of course, I actually have one of those that you usually see architects and stuff using that has all these different little designs and stuff like that. So I have one of those. And then, of course, traditional, you know, one like that. Now, this one here, this is the one that I think is super, super worth having. It's not meant for art. It's actually meant for, I believe, I think it's meant for sea, for sailing and stuff like that. The whims and path, it's meant to be used on the sea. But this, I absolutely love this because so when you lay this on your paper, and let's say you're doing, you know, buildings and you want to get your brick lines in or whatever, or even your, you know, you can rotate it around for perspective. But the main thing it's used for is like buildings, or what I use it for is buildings and things like that, because you lay it down and you draw your line. You're holding this against your paper. You draw your line and then you move it down as far as you need to, draw the next line, move it down, draw the next line, move it down, draw the next line. And then once you kind of run out of room, you hold the bottom one on that last line and you just bring this down and then you just keep going, 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 going. This thing is incredible. And then because it's connected, every single line is correct to this top line. Just depending on how big of the gaps you make between each movement of the rail, so to speak. But I think they use that in like on ships and stuff like that. Now, this other stuff's cheap. This, I think I paid $60 for this damn ruler. But it is definitely incredible. I mean, it's great for, you know, going across and down and whatever angles, man. This thing is great. When you want to make sure all your lines stay consistent. Now, there's some people out there, they can take this little bastard right here, you know, and they can go whoosh, 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 and they can move this damn thing down freehand and it'll look great. But, you know, those are usually people like Jim Lee and so on. This is a great shortcut to get all your, you know, bricking, your wall lines and things like that. It's really, really great tool. You know, but so that's basically all the tools that I use. I can't really think of anything else. I do use Sharpies sometimes, black Sharpies for big blacks and stuff. I try to avoid it when I can, you know, because for those that may not know, black Sharpie markers, you know, traditional black Sharpie markers, they turn like a blue gray over time. They lose the black. So when you're doing cover publication work and things that's meant to last forever, per se, you don't want your damn blacks turning this light gray color or this blue gray color. So really and truly, you don't want to use Sharpies anywhere on any damn thing you're doing as far as when it comes to blacks. Don't ink with it. Don't background with it. Don't big black with it. Don't do shit with it. Go buy the real damn tools and use the real damn tools for stuff like that. Now, are there going to be times where you may have to use a black Sharpie? Maybe you ran out of ink, or maybe you're at a show and you can't really take that ink with you because if you spill it, it makes one hell of a mess. Yeah, you know, and then, you know, if you got to use one of these big ass damn markers, you know, maybe use it then. Now, I'm sure there's probably some other permanent style markers out there now that works just fine. But like I said, when you're doing big blacks, if you're, you know, whether you're, you know, doing the pintail pocket or the Kuretake or whatever it's called, giant brush pens, that has the ink inside the handle of it, that should be plenty. You don't really have to have a damn Sharpie marker with you. You know, don't be cheap. Buy the damn tools that make things look better and a lot easier. But yeah, so that's my basic rundown on like tools that I use. Feel free to ask any questions you might have. Again, I'm sorry for anybody on Facebook. You're going to have to go to the YouTube channel to be able to comment and talk because Facebook has me restricted at the moment. I can't go live because they can't take a joke that I made on Lori's show this morning about coffee and, you know, Facebook, man. People can spew hate all they want, but you make the wrong joke and everybody, you know, the algorithm loses its mind. What's up, Mr. Marty? Um, but yeah, feel free to ask any questions if you got. That's the tools that I use, the paper I use, the markers I use. Now, the other thing I kind of wanted to talk about, but that's if you're curious what Copic markers look like. I mean, that's what they look like. You know, so I mean, they lay down beautifully. Now, they're the one I will say this. If you're a new artist, don't buy Copic markers. When I started buying Copic markers, you know, like 7 years ago, and again, I have almost a whole set, almost a full 345 piece set. What I have discovered about Copics, and Copics was the only alcohol markers that was around at that time that was refillable. You could buy, there were plenty of other alcohol markers at Michael's and Hobby Lobby and online that you use them and throw them in the garbage, and they did okay. I've tried some of them; they do okay. Copics were hands down the best, absolute best, but they cost you like $6 a pop just for the marker, and that has some ink in it when you buy it. Refills run you about $5 a pop after the fact. But they are refillable. You can replace the tips on them and everything. So they're a great investment then because you could refill them and you could replace the tips. Now, what I have discovered about them, oh shit, what the hell? Okay. Oh Lord, ain't no telling with Marty. But what I did discover is a lot of times the caps don't fit tight. So therefore, air gets in the caps and they're loose and the ink evaporates. Then you're having to refill shit, or what I started doing is usually one end will be tight, one end will be loose. And so I'll put tape around the end that's loose, and usually the chisel tip, because I use brush. Don't use nib, use brush. So one end's a brush tip, one end's a chisel. I just tape off the chisel end because I don't hardly ever use the chisel end anyway. But they still will evaporate over time. And so you're constantly having to refill those, or they're constantly just ran out on you and they haven't even been used. The other thing, when they sit there for a long time, the tips, the ends of them will kind of crystallize almost to where they're hard and stuck, and you have to fight to get them out, and then you have to replace them and then refill the cartridge. So you have that problem. Now, Blick Art, who was the main seller for those markers for shit, what markers did I just say? Shit. The ones I was just talking about. But anyway, Blick Art was the big seller of Copics. But they've created their own alcohol markers now that are refillable also. And they're about half the price of Copics. So if you want something similar to Copics that's going to work just the same, try Blick Art's brand of alcohol markers that are refillable, way cheaper. Now there's a new brand out that some people are using. I haven't given it a try yet, but Alex Sinclair, when he does commissions, he uses them. And for those that don't know who Alex Sinclair is Jim Lee's colorist. I talk to him a lot when it comes to tools. And and Ryan Kincaid is also using this brand now. But they're called Olos, OLO. They're not very cheap. And where Copics are about, 6 inches long, maybe 5 inches long, these things are about fucking 3.5 inches long. And you can plug them into one another or some crazy shit like that. But they are refillables, but they're only about that damn long. And from what I've been able to see, they're not super cheap either. But they have these little refillable things. So when it runs out, you just buy that replacement and put it inside the barrel. But that's, I don't know how well you can see that, but that's how big they are. And I mean that one next to it, that other one, the longer one, that's two different ones plugged into each other. So you can plug them into each other. So one end has one type of color and the other end has another type of color. And then when they run out, you just break them apart and replace the cartridge of whichever one, ran out. So everybody's like, that's what a lot of people use. And like I said, Alex Sinclair is probably hands down the best colorist in the industry digitally. And he does beautiful sketch covers I've seen. And like I said, Alex is Jim Lee's colorist. I mean, he's colorist for other people too, but that's the only colorist Jim Lee's uses. Now, again, that's digital. We're talking about traditional here with these markers, but this is what they are using right now. And they're talking about they're really good, but they're not too cheap. They're about probably the same prices as Copics. Like here's a pack right here. This is a basic 8-piece brush set, basic colors. So your basic colors, and it's an 8-piece, so 8 markers for $32. So that's 8 markers for 30. Well, tax and everything, you might as well call it 33 divided by 8. That's $4.12 a marker. So it's just a little cheaper than Copics. I'm going to order some of them soon and give it a try and see how they are. Like I said, Ryan Kincaid swears by them. Alex Sinclair swears by them. I don't know if I've tried those or not. If they're not refillables, I probably have tried them and then just moved on. But yeah, I'm going to give those a try at some point. I thought about selling, because don't get me wrong, now Copic's still a great marker. You'll have those occasions. Like, so to give you an example, I have probably 315 or 320 Copic markers in there out of the 345 set. Out of that whole 300 plus batch, 320, somewhere between 310, 320, 315, somewhere around there. But anyway, out of all those markers in that bin, there's probably only 5 that I've had, maybe less than 10 that I've had issues with the caps being too loose and the ink evaporating away, that I've had to tape one end or the tips got crystallized. Now, some of it's lack of use. That's the other thing that I learned by having almost a whole set of Copic markers, 300 plus, and you're going to use about the same damn 30 to 100 all the time. The rest are just sitting there for occasional backups, because that's what it usually ends up getting used at. All the extras in there, the other 200 plus in that damn bin, are usually when one of the ones I use all the time runs out of color, I grab a similar color to finish off a project I'm working on, because I might be out of refill or something like that and have to order one. So it's usually so. Do I personally think you need a full damn set of Copic markers? Hell no. But so I thought about selling mine at one point, because like I said, Copic markers, they're $6 and some change a piece. So if you call them, even if you go just $6, times 315 at least in there, that's almost $2,000 worth of markers in that damn bin. That's $1,890. Almost $2,000 worth of markers in that bin, and I bet you money. Now, could you use all of them? Absolutely. You'll touch all of them at some point. Now, sometimes, like I said, the only time you're really touching them is because you're out of one color and you grab something that's a close color to it, which is still good. I mean, that means you're not having to stop a damn project in its tracks to order a refill and wait for 2 weeks for it to get here. So there are advantages to having almost a full set because it's all types of yellows, all types of greens, all types of blues, and all types of reds. Everything from the lightest pinks to the darkest crimsons, the lightest blues to the darkest. So you will touch them for sure. But there's going to be, a batch of about 100 that you'll use far more than the others, but the others are damn good to have. So I thought about selling my entire set, or raffling that set off to artists, because that's the refills are a little cheaper. Buying the actual markers where your money investment is. The refills are just part of the game, and they're cheaper per marker to order refills. So you're not having to rebuy a marker all over. So I thought about doing that because like I said, me personally, I kind of want to try the other ones, but I don't really want to. I mean, I'll buy them first to try them before I make a decision about my Copics, because I damn sure wouldn't want to get rid of my Copic collection and then realize I don't like the new ones. You know what I mean? But that's something I might do. I might do them as a raffle. If I end up buying these and I like them, I may raffle off my Copic collection and make it to where only artists can enter the raffle. And because, like I said, it's almost $2,000 worth of markers in that damn bin. Now, obviously, I also have 2 tackle boxes, these little thin art boxes. They look like a tackle box, kind of. I have 2 of those full of refills. So if I ended up that I did do that, the refills would go with it, so you tack on all of the refills. The markers are like $6 a piece. The refills are like $4, I think, a piece, or a little over $4, or right at 5. Anyway, something like that. I know they're cheaper than the markers, but hell, that's probably another $500 worth of refills. We're not joking with you guys. There's a reason most artists don't color their shit. There's a reason the extent of their coloring is gray tones, from Copic. These things are not cheap. And they look way better. They blend better. They look better. There's no doubt. And I've tried the little, boxes of markers from Michaels and Hobby Lobby and stuff. These other companies that are non-refillable. Once they wear out, you just throw them away. Once they run empty, you throw them away. And I've tried those. And there is absolutely no doubt. It's hands down day and night difference between those and a legit alcohol marker like Copic, maybe even Olo. Like I said, I trust Alex's opinion. I trust Ryan Kincaid's opinion on those, and they swear by them that's what they use now instead of the Copics. The only reason I really hadn't switched yet is because I do have almost a full set of Copics, and like I said, that's around $2,000 invested, and it's hard to just go, well, I'm changing markers for the sheer sake of just changing markers after you spent, $2,000 on damn markers and another almost $500 worth of damn refills. I really do want to try the Olos because, like I said, I do like the fact that it's one end. There's no, because I don't use chisel tips. So for me personally, I think the smartest thing Copic could do is remove that other cap on the end, get rid of the chisel tip, and make it just a damn brush pen, that's that tall, that's refillable. Put a brush tip on it, remove the chisel. That way you don't have to worry about air leaking in from the other damn end. And then they do need to redo their caps. They absolutely need to redo their caps. They are push on. They're supposed to kind of clip in place just by pressure and tightness. So that does wear out over time. I think Copic needs to change it to a clip style, where there's like a little ring or something that has to pop over to close, or they need to change it to a screw down. And there's no reason they can't change it to a screw down, because here's one of the new this is how their new refill bottles look. And they changed that to a screw down lid. So it's not like they can't change the other. Now, this is what their refills used to look like. This is what they changed it to. So they went from more ink in a refill to a smaller refill bottle that holds less ink, and they charged us the same money. Both of these were the same price. They don't do these no more. And these were great. These right here, they're okay. But I mean, even these is a screw down type of top. So, they've been doing that for a while. So they need to change that. So that's what I do like about the Olis is it's one tip on one end. And then I don't know if the top screws down or not. That part I don't know. I didn't think to ask them that. I don't know if it's a snap-on top or a screw-down top, but that's what Copic needs to do. They need to change their lids, their caps to a screw-down. That way it locks down. There's no air because sadly, and I do check that. Now, every time I buy Copic somewhere as I'm filling up my collection, I'll sit there and pull the top off in a store or something and try it out. Now, obviously, if you're ordering markers offline, you don't get to try that. And that's usually where, because I've bought some in stores and I've ordered them online straight through BlickArt. And, it's always been the ones online where I would get a bad one, because in the stores, I pull off both ends and make sure that shit's tight. But it's still going to kind of wear out over time. So they do need to, like I said, they need to change it to a screw down. So if you got any questions about any of that, feel free to ask. But if I was an artist coming into it now, I wouldn't buy Copics. I would just buy BlickArt's version of Copic markers, their style. I can't remember exactly what it's called, but their version of the alcohol markers by BlickArt. I just buy theirs because, like I said, it's half the price. Or just buy Olos. Like I said, two people I trust their opinions in this industry tremendously, and that's Alex Sinclair, Jim Lee's colorist, and Ryan Kincaid. I trust both their opinions, and both of them swear by the Olos. OLO. Like I said, they're only a little cheaper than Copics, but supposedly they're badass. Yeah, so that's what I would suggest as far as alcohol markers go, because again, I can't stress it enough. It's a whole different ball game from coloring stuff with alcohol, like professional grade alcohol markers, compared to that damn shit you get at Michael's or Hobby Lobby that's not refillable, that you use them till they go. Like, that color is so different. It lays different, it dries different, it looks different. Trust me. Spend the money and buy you some good alcohol markers. Again, either go Olo or go the BlickArt version of their alcohol markers. And both of those are refillable markers. So it's just a one-time investment on the marker. And I believe you can change the tips out on both of those too. So I know you can on BlickArt, but I think you can on the Olos too. So when the tip starts going bad, because they do wear out, you can replace the tip, I believe. Now, as far as what I personally think, this was another question I get asked a lot by up and coming people that want to break into this industry. How do I do it? What do I need to do? I can only tell you what I've done and what has absolutely worked for me. Everybody else may have a different journey and different thoughts and opinions on it. All I can tell you is, what. Hey, what's up, Jim? Yeah, I'm kind of blocked on Facebook right now. I can't go live. I can't do live videos on Facebook right now. The algorithm got me this morning when I said I was having my coffee and bump. The algorithm took that serious. So now this is how I started. Like I said, everybody's different. I'm sure somebody will tell you my way is the wrong way. This is what I did, and I'll tell you why I did it this way. Because one of the most common things I see happening right now is artists see what we're doing and they want to jump into the fight right out the gate. They want in the ring right out the gate, and they want paid exactly what we get paid right out the gate. That's not how this shit works. Okay. Yeah, you can't show up on day one and think you're going to get in the ring and spar with, Muhammad Ali. It just doesn't work that way. And you shouldn't be getting paid the same money as they get paid. You haven't earned it. But that is one of the most common things I have seen. People show up, they think day one, their drawing is remedial and basic and for lack of a better word, kind of crappy. But they show up, they see what we're doing, they think they're supposed to be getting the same attention, getting the same commission orders, charging the same money or inflated prices in general, compared to what type of work quality they're giving. And then they get mad and they get frustrated. They rage on Facebook. They make these posts about, these snide ass comment posts in general, kind of throwing people under the bus because they're not buying their stuff. And this is a real simple industry in the sense of being busy and selling. You're if you're not getting commissions, if you're not selling product, you're either too expensive in general, or you're too expensive for your quality of work, and you lack the experience to handle it. So the way I did, when I decided I wanted to do this as a career, I started grinding. And now keep in mind, please keep in mind, until I made this decision, I had not drawn anything in 10 years plus. I mean, not occasionally, not every once in a while. I mean, I shit you not, technically 9 years ago. I've been doing this professionally for 8 years, but I started grinding 9 years ago. So prior to that 9 years, I hadn't picked up a pencil to draw any damn thing in 10 years. So when I made that decision, I was like, okay, I want to draw again, but I want to do it professionally. I want to make this a career. I made my mind up right then. I was going to draw 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week. And I did that for a solid year straight before I ever put myself on social media. So a solid year of grinding art, drawing, and I don't mean sitting there for 2 hours trying to think of something to draw. I took everybody that I loved and I just sat down and started drawing stuff they'd already drawn, just so I could get used to the forcing myself to draw, being steady about it, being committed. Because if you sit there, I can't figure out anything to draw, you'll waste 2 hours looking for some shit. So you pick your favorite artist, and I would pick Jim Lee or I'd pick David Finch, and I'd look at something they drew and I'd sit there and draw it. So I did that for like a year straight. I mean, not like an exact year. I did that for a year straight, 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week, while I worked my other damn job. And there is absolutely no unless your ass is working 2 jobs every day, you're working 16 hours. Yeah, you don't have the time to probably do it on that level. Maybe you have to do it on the weekends. But most people aren't working 16-hour days. Let's be blunt. So you got time. Just stop bullshitting. Stay off Xbox. Stay off Fortnite. Stay off of, any other damn distractions, and work. While everybody else is asleep, have your ass in the damn living room working, because you only need about 4 or 5 hours a night to sleep and you're fine. You don't need no 8 or 10 damn hours. That's bullshit. You can get away with 5 or 6 hours just fine. But anyway, that's what I did after that year. So that technically did 2 big things, probably 3 big things, really, but definitely 2 big things. By creating that pattern and forcing myself to do it, it guaranteed that I would do work no matter how I felt. Didn't matter how exhausted I was from my other job, I sat down and drew. Didn't matter if I was sick and didn't feel good, I sat down and drew. So it helped me, create that future pattern and mentality for when I did go professional. I could make sure I worked no matter how I was feeling. And the other thing it does, it teaches you how to handle deadlines and workloads. Because if you set a deadline for one of these pieces, okay, I need to have this piece finished by tomorrow night or a couple nights from now, working 2 hours a night, whatever the case. It teaches you deadlines. It teaches you to work when you don't feel like it, and it teaches you deadlines. And it teaches you to handle the pressure, because it's a lot of pressure. Don't get the shit twisted. This ain't vacation. Um, and this is one of those careers that I will tell you from the get-go, I've worked all types of jobs. I've done security, I've done management, I've ran offices, I've worked as a bouncer, I've worked as a dealer, I've worked construction, bartender. I've worked all types of jobs from relatively easy to super damn hard. And every job I've ever worked always has one or two of three things. So every job is either going to be physically demanding, mentally demanding, or emotionally demanding. And a lot of jobs will have a mixture of those two. I've almost never worked a job where it had all three till this, because this industry here, it will hit you on three fronts. You will be exhausted physically, you will be mentally exhausted, and you will be emotionally exhausted. And I mean, and that's just the way it is. So as far as like all the jobs I've ever had, careers I've ever had, this has been the toughest, but the most enjoyable. But it is tough because it hits you on all three levels. All the other jobs I've ever worked, it was either one of those things or a combination of the, two out of the three. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Military's that's probably the closest thing I could tell you. It's physically, it's emotionally, and it's mental. So yeah, that's a good example right there too. You know, Firefighter is another good example. And I'm not saying that we're better than any of those people. I don't mean it that way. I just mean that when it comes to jobs, there's only three facets that jobs hit you in. And most jobs are just one out of the three. And every once in a while, you'll get a job that's like two out of the three. Very few jobs has a 3 for 3. And again, I've worked a shitload of careers, and this is the first one. So, but that'll help you deal with that, and you do need to prepare for that. But you got to have some humble pie in you too. Again, you can't show up on day one and see Joe Blow over here that's got a fan base, that does shitloads of shows, that does a bunch of covers, that does a bunch of commissions, that's charging $200, $300, $400 for their work, and then you show up on day one going, "Oh, hey, I'm a $200 artist too." No, the fuck you're not. Excuse my language. No, you're not. You're not that. I don't even give a shit if your art is relatively good. You're still not a $200, $300 artist, because you don't have no fan base. You don't have any experience that people can trust on giving you their money to get product. So, in my opinion, like I said, that worked for me. I grinded art for a year. It helped me deal with some things to be on that level. And then I went live on social media. I created a Facebook group. I created an art group. I started sharing out all my artwork to places. The first day I exposed myself to the art community and the comic community as an artist, I went live at the end of that week. I went live and sold all the art that I've been working on for a year. So I went live that Friday night, and then I went live again that Saturday night after kind of creating my pages and stuff. And I sold out of almost every stitch of that art that I have created for a year. Now, I was selling a lot of that art for $40 and $50. That first night, I sold $1,600+ worth of stuff at $40 and $50 a pop. The second night, I sold about the same amount, but it created a huge following right out the gate, a really good supportive fan base right out the gate. People saw what I could do. It wasn't a case of, well, let me give you my money and see what you might do. Like, they could see what I could do. And grinding art for 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week for a year, you get pretty good in that time frame. When you grind that way, you see like leaps in your quality of work about every couple months. Way better than what most artists do. They sit around, they don't draw unless somebody asks them to draw something. You can't operate that. That is not how you do it. You need to be drawing regardless of someone ordering something from you. Like even for myself, I'll draw stuff, to test out blanks or test out new pens. I'll get up first thing in the morning. I'm up every morning by between 5:30 to 6. Every once in a while I might sleep till 6:30 or an occasional 7 when I'm just kind of beat down from travel. But the majority of the time, you ask Andrea, I'm out of bed, 99% of the time I'm out of bed long before 7 a.m. I just don't sleep. So I'll go to bed around 11 o'clock at night, and then I'm up around 5 to 6 a.m. Plenty of sleep. That's tons of sleep in my opinion. But I'll go live first thing in the mornings and do warm-ups. So I'll practice, drawing headshots and things, stuff that's relatively quick, that's just used for warming up before I jump on commissions or I jump on cover work. So you need to be drawing. If you're trying to do this, you can't sit around and wait for somebody to order something from you and then go, oh, okay, now I can draw something. No, you have to be drawing day in and day out, 7 days a week. I'm sorry. I don't give a shit about your rest. I don't give a shit about you don't feel good. I don't give a shit about your Fortnites and your Xbox and your Call of Duty and all this other crap. If you want to do this and you want to be successful, especially in a quicker time frame than strolling through the neighborhood, you got to grind it every single day. The majority of your day needs to be drawing, period, hands down. Learning your craft, learning your tools. And you don't got to make it super complicated as a new artist. You don't have to jump over here and try to do cover quality stuff or try to do full bodies. You can sit around and do damn headshots and practice and work on your inking, work on your layouts, work on your coloring, and then throw the damn things on Facebook for $40 or $50 a pop. They'll sell, but you can't show up on day one and go, hey, I'm a $200 artist. I don't know how many times, because, with myself personally and Chris and Lori and a few other creators, we share our IPs with up and comers. Most people don't do that shit because up and comers are flaky as hell. A lot of them can't meet deadlines. Their quality work is mediocre. And the sad truth of it is when we bring someone on to work on a cover as a new artist, we're not even going to make back the money we paid them. Or even if they did it for free and we, paid the colorist, or let's say they paid the colorist and did the art for free, I still have to pay for the comps at $5 a book of their cover to give them, 10 or 15 copies of the cover, which I usually give everybody around 15 copies. We don't even recoup that. I don't even sell enough of their books on my IP because no one knows who they are or the artwork's mediocre. I don't even sell enough of their books to make back the money I paid for their comps. And that's not throwing shade on them. Like I said, I could rectify that really easy. Stop putting any amateurs on my projects. But that's something I've done from the get-go because I know what it was like first starting out, and you couldn't get nobody to pay you any damn attention to do a cover. It's that crazy ass scenario. Well, you don't have enough experience. Oh, well, you don't get enough experience because nobody will hire you, but they don't hire you because you don't have enough experience. It's that crazy shit. And I don't blame people because it's money you are literally throwing away. Because again, you're not going to recoup. Now, if you have an artist who has faith in themselves and they jump on your Kickstarter and they buy a bunch of their own covers, which they, because they're stockpiling their first publication and first work. Now you're fine there. You made the money you may have paid them, or you made the money you paid the colorist, or you made the money for the comps that you gave them, whatever scenario you fit into. That's rare. I mean, I've done 11 Kickstarters in 3 years, and I can count on one hand the artists that jumped on that Kickstarter, that did a cover on that Kickstarter, that jumped on the Kickstarter and bought 5 or 6 or 10 of their own covers, which, to be fair, I didn't do that when I first started either, because I didn't even think about that. Michael Gardner, who's an up-and-coming talented artist, that I gave a shot to on one of my IPs, and now he's done like 3 covers for me. He's doing covers for other people now too. So that's one of the reasons I share my IP. So if you've never seen any of my Kickstarters for Psycho Sal or Rise of the Mummy or Cursed Moonlight, I usually have about 7 or 8 guest artists on that book doing a cover, and then my cover. So I usually have about 7 or 8 covers on a book. And I save 2 spots on every single Kickstarter, and I bring in someone who's never been published, and I give them a chance to do a cover and be published. And he was one of those guys I gave an opportunity to, and he did a great cover. He took my advice. I told him hire a professional colorist. I don't give a shit if they're in the country or out of the country, but somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Hire them to color your cover, and it makes so different. It's day and night. When you take an amateur artist and they try to color their stuff, it's so amateur and so bad. It just is. But when you take amateur art and you have a badass professional colorist color that, whole different ball game. So he listened. He took my advice, but he jumped on that first damn Kickstarter and shit. He bought regular trade dress covers of his cover. He bought foil versions of his cover. He bought metal versions of his cover. And you know, just so he could start stockpiling his cover work to put on his table when he got to once he started doing show appearances. I wish I'd have thought of that shit when I first started. That never crossed my mind. I've never seen anybody do that. I've never heard of anybody doing that. So never knew it was a thing. Like I said, I've never heard of anyone doing that. And he did it. And then, of course, you flash forward, we've had some other amateur artists that have come on. They got their first opportunity for a cover, I think like Twan and Ryan Morris and some of these others. And they've kind of followed suit on what Michael had done. You know, they bought a handful of their covers and stuff too. Like, that's super damn smart, because yeah, you might be paying $10 or $15 on that Kickstarter for that cover, sure, but you'll sell that damn book at shows for 20 bucks, you know, 15 to 20 bucks a pop with a signature. So you're gonna recoup your money. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand not everybody can invest $200 or $300 on their own covers on a Kickstarter. I get it, but you really need to think about it. I wish I'd have thought of that shit. Oh, you're very welcome, man. Now, do I wish more creators did that? I do. To be fair, though, I completely understand why they don't. You don't recoup your money. If you did pay them, you don't recoup your money. If you bought them comps of their covers to give them when the Kickstarter's over with, you're not going to recoup that in 9 times out of 10. And the sad thing is a lot of these people, you have to argue with them to promote the project. I've had that bite me in the ass using amateurs so many times. And again, now keep in mind, when I first got started, even the amateurs I brought on that were unpublished, you know, I'd be like, how much do you need to do a cover? Oh, $100 or $150 or whatever the case. I'd pay them and give them comps. Now, I put my foot down on that shit, because then I'd have to turn around and argue with them every single damn week to go promote the Kickstarter, which part of our job is to promote projects that we're a part of. I don't know why that's so hard for a lot of people to understand, especially up and coming amateurs. Because I explain all this shit to them from the get-go. Every single week, you need to post the Kickstarter once or twice on your social platforms. And I shouldn't have to come ask you to do it or remind you. And I've had to remind and ask every damn time. And then some of them I've had to argue the point to. So I changed the way I did that. I said, from now on, if it's an amateur that sends me a message wanting to do a cover for Psycho Sal, okay, if the spots haven't filled, I'll use you. As long as your art, you know, I'd still look at the art. It has to kind of work a little. But I'm not paying you. I'm not. I'll give you 10 to 15 copies of your cover at the end of the Kickstarter, which I'll pay for, and I'll pay for the shipping and send them to you, and you can sell them for whatever you want. So I quit doing that. So now they got to earn my damn trust on actually getting paid for a damn cover. Now, the other people I use, I pay them for their colors because they're pros and I know who they are, and they know how to meet deadlines. They know how to promote, et cetera, et cetera. But my point is on that is, don't be afraid. You have to invest in yourself. So don't be afraid to do that. Use the proper tools, use the proper markers, use the proper type of paper, spend money on blanks. You can usually get blanks for $5 to $10. Every once in a while, you'll see one of us pro artists will sell off bundles of blanks where we stockpile blanks. They're all good books, good titles, but don't be afraid to buy those bundles, because usually when we sell those bundles, it's usually a bundle of 10 random blanks. And you'll get them for like $5 or $6 a piece. You draw on them. Don't worry about what damn title it is or what company it is. Take the damn blanks and just draw on them, because that's another unique thing about doing it that way, is it teaches you how to draw anything and everything. Because when you're at a show, you're going to get people coming up to you for commissions. It could be a female, it could be a male, it could be a horror related item, it could be a Ninja Turtle or a Batman, it could be anything. So, those stacks are usually random. Take that damn stack, sit it on your damn desk, pick up one of those books and look at it and go, oh, okay, that's Marvel, that's X-Men. I'm going to draw Rogue, and set your ass down and draw it. Then pick up the next book. Oh shit, the next book is Image Comics, Spawn. Oh shit, okay, I'm gonna draw Spawn. That's the way you need to look at it. You don't need to be worrying about like, oh, you're selling 10 blanks. What books are they? What titles are they? What companies? You don't need to be worrying about none of that shit as a new artist. You need to learn how to draw. So, like I said, that's the way I did it. I grinded art 2 to 4 hours a day, 7 days a week for a solid year before I ever put myself on social media. The other one is draw every damn day, whether you're getting orders or not. Be drawing. I don't give a shit if you're working another full-time job. I don't care, because any excuses are bullshit. Sorry, boo-boo. I used to make those same bullshit ass excuses back when I was younger. Oh, I can't draw today, I'm tired. Oh, I can't draw today, I worked all day. Oh, I can't draw today because I gotta go do family stuff. No, you got 24 hours. Like Jim Lee said, you got 24 damn hours. Most people, the majority of people, work 8-hour shifts. Let's say worst case scenario, you got an hour drive there, an hour drive back, which most people don't. But let's say you did. There's 10 hours of your day right there. Okay. You come home, sit down with the family. If you got a family, you have a dinner, you watch a movie, and then everybody goes off to bed. Well, now it's, 9, 10 o'clock at night. Now your ass sits down for 2 hours, you draw till midnight, and then you get your ass up at 6 a.m. and go to work. It's that simple. Some days you'll get extra hours. Some days you may get a few less. But regardless, when you really sit down and look at your 24-hour day, everybody has at least 2 hours a day that they can spend on something. Because I guarantee you, you're spending 2 to 3 hours a day on bullshit. Whether it's Xbox or computer or TikTok or YouTube or what the hell ever. And once you own that truth, that you've been lying to yourself and making bullshit excuses to give you a cop out, you'll realize that you can't use that anymore. And when Jim Lee first explained that to me, when we were asking him in a channel, one of his live shows, we were asking him how you deal with that, trying to make time. And when he explained it like that, I was like, oh shit, yeah, I can't make that bullshit excuse anymore, because it's a bullshit excuse. It doesn't matter if you have children at home. It doesn't matter if you have a wife or a husband at home. You still waste a good 2 to 3 hours a day. I need to rest. I need to rest. No, you don't. You can rest when you go to sleep. Which one do you want more? So that's what it really comes down to if you want to play in our ball field. Do you want this more, or do you want to play Xbox? Do you want this more, or do you want to flip channels on TikTok and watch dumbass bimbos bounce their tits for 10 seconds? Which one do you want more? Because don't use the bullshit excuses. Don't sit here and try to claim that's why you can't chase your dream. That's a damn lie. You're using it because you're scared or you're weak constitution. I don't know, but don't let that excuse own you, because it will. You need to work sick. You need to work tired. You need to work hurt, no matter what it is. And when you work for yourself, you don't really get days off. I will give you that wake up call. My pattern for this career is anywhere between 10 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week guaranteed, and a lot of Sundays. Like case in point, here's you a good example. March, I have 4 shows in March. Everything from Texas to Ohio and everything in between. I got 4 shows in March. I will literally only be in my home 7 days, 8 days out of the entire 31-day month. So 7 or 8 days I'll be in my house. Well, guess what? That's back-to-back shows. I'm not in my house taking a break because I was just out of town for a show. I'm working on cover work. I'm working on commissions. I'm working on pre-show commissions for the next show. So there's your good example. So for 8 years, my pattern has been that 10 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week guaranteed, and then a lot of 7s. Like I shit you not, last year, 2025, I had, I think, around 30 days off, because I averaged about a day a month, but there were some months there where I did 3 shows a month, and a couple, I think 1 or 2, 4 shows a month. And when I'm on those back-to-back shows, I'm, like I said, I'm not coming home and taking the day off. I'm coming home and unpacking, doing laundry, repacking, and then sitting down and doing commission work, cover work, etc., or getting ready for the next show. So yeah, last year I averaged about 1 day a week off, and then some of those months it was no days a week off. And so at the end of it all said and done, probably around 25 to 30 days off was all I got off last year. And that was pretty much the same the year before and the same the year before, because I've been on the same pattern for 8 years. Now, do you have to do it that way? No, you don't. You don't have to go balls out as hard as I've been going. I'm a workaholic. I'm addicted to what I do. I have an addictive personality. So this is great for me. That's why I don't play, like, I don't own an Xbox. I don't own a PS5. I don't play online game, or, I don't play video games. Because I do have an addictive personality. If I play a video game, I got to be badass at it. I got to be the best at that son bitch. So I avoid it. So I just, and now, to be fair, my 4 daughters are grown. They live on their own. I've got 3 grandbabies, so I visit with them and I visit with my daughters when I can. But they have their own lives going. I visit with Andrea when I can. She's super supportive and understanding about what I'm doing. But you don't have to go as hard as I go. You don't. But I jumped in this game 8 years ago. I turned 50 last month. I don't have 30 years to invest in this industry. So I'm trying to make a name and trying to accomplish something now so I can slow down later. Now, will I slow down or not? I don't know. Like I said, I have an addictive personality. I love what I do. I love creating art. I love interacting with you guys. So I absolutely love it, even though it's a tremendous drain. Like I said, because it hits you on all 3 categories. The emotional roller coaster of this industry, holy shit. And what I mean by that, so you have the physical, you're constantly bent over working at a desk, your hands hurt, your back hurt, your neck hurts, you end up with headaches from the straining on the eyes, and stuff like that. So I'm not going to sugarcoat it about it. It's demanding physically. It's demanding mentally, because you're having to keep up with projects. You're having to remember deadlines. You're having to remember who gets what, when do we get it, what date am I doing this, where I got to go next. Oh, look, I got to do a Kickstarter. Oh, look, I got to promote this. Oh, look, I got to answer these emails, these messages. So it's mentally exhausting too. But the emotional one is tough when that gets slapped in there with the other two. And I had no clue. I knew it was going to be physically demanding. I knew it was going to be mentally. I was not prepared for the emotional roller coaster of it. Because if you're someone who wants to see people succeed and you want to see people happy and having a good time, this job will kick you in the balls and it'll give you a wake up call real quick, because the majority of the people that work in the industry don't give a fuck about you or anyone else. They'll talk that community shit, they'll talk that group love shit, and then they don't give two shits about you when the video ain't rolling. You know what I mean? So you learn that, which that's, you can work with that. You know, you just wash your hands and you do what you got to do, and you don't concern yourself with them. I'm not here to make friends. I'm not here to kiss their ass or have them kiss my ass. I don't give a shit about what they're doing. If you're not in my circle, I'm not concerning myself with it. You know what I mean? So you learn the people that's going to be in your circle, and you just concentrate on them. You don't worry about all the other fucking people, because they're not worrying about you. You'll learn that real quick. But the petty shit, if you're somebody who doesn't do that to people, who wants to see other people succeed, and I came from an industry with the insurance world, our office, our mantra and our reality of how we ran that office, that's 7.5 years that we were trained and taught to lift others up, and your other agents in the office came before you, and you made sure they're successful, you made sure they're doing good. So I was learning that for 7.5 years, and then I come into this industry and I hear people talking that, but yeah, that's not happening. So that keeps you in the gut. It gives you a wake-up call, but like I said, you can kind of work around that. But then when you start finally getting some traction, you're getting some work, you're getting some recognition, you're getting some invites to shows, you're being seen, your fan base is building, people are recognizing you. The petty shit that comes out of left field, holy shit. Finding out people are talking shit about you behind your back when you've been nothing but nice to them, or finding out even worse, they've been trying to slander you to where you can't get work and you've never even had a cross word with them. The difference is you're just doing better than them at that moment. And the reason you're doing better isn't because you're better. 9 times out of 10, it's because their lazy asses don't want to do the grind that you're doing. That kicks you in the balls big time. To see the text messages or whatever, or find out that what somebody's been saying about you when you've never had a crossword with them. That sucks. As much as you want to act tough and try to pretend that doesn't bother you, it does. So you have those moments where it just really kicks you in the balls, and then you have the up and down of the Comic-Cons. You have all this energy and excitement built up before you get to the show. Then you're on, especially if you're somebody that enjoys interacting with fans. You're up here, man, that whole damn day. You're talking to fans. You're having a great time. They're having a great time. You're feeling all this energy, all this love. And then the minute that con shuts down for the day and you go out and grab dinner, which most of the time it's by yourself. So you go grab dinner, you're by yourself. So now you're crashing. Then you go back to the hotel. It's just you in the hotel. You're working probably till, midnight on stuff that's due the next day for fans. And it's just you. You're not on the phone with nobody. You're not hanging out with nobody 9 times out of 10. It's just you. So that's when a lot of things, if you're not careful, creeps into your head. The self-doubt, the self-worth, the imposter syndrome, the time away from your wife or your girlfriend or your husband or whatever the case may be, time away from, your kids or whatever. That's where a lot of that starts creeping into your head, and it'll mess with you. Then you also have, it's hotels. You can't really sleep worth the shit. So you get up the next morning, you're tired, you're run down, but then the minute the doors open and the fans walk through, and the first time you're seeing one waving at you coming down the aisle, you're grinning like an idiot, you're excited, and now you're back up here, man. You're on that high, that adrenaline rush, and that love. And And then when that day ends, it's the same thing. It's back to the solidarity and the loneliness. And and then, when it's all said and done, you're coming home and, you're right back to the grind. And usually, again, whether you're married or not, when you're grinding art, it's pretty much just you, because you kind of have to get into a room by yourself, or even if you're in a room with other people, you kind of got headphones on with maybe music or something, so you're not distracted by whatever they're doing or they're watching, because you got to get shit done. You don't get to really come home and hang out. Now, once you get to a certain level of popularity and fame and work, yes, you don't. It's not as bad. It's still similar, but it's not as bad. I've talked to a lot of pros that's been in the business 25, 30 years that have big names, and we'll have these kind of talks about this. And they're like, yeah, just hang in there. It'll get easier because as you get more popular, you can charge more money for things and do a little less work. So you're making the same money, but doing less work. So that gives you more downtime. You can take Saturday and Sunday off every damn weekend that you're not out of town at a show. Or if you are out of town at a show, you come back home on Monday and Tuesday, you can take those 2 days off because you're making the same money. So you get to spend more time with your children or your spouses or your grandchildren or your friends or whatever the case may be. So yeah, so you want to be ready for that. I had no clue that was even a thing, and I'm one of those people. Sadly, I do wear my emotions on my sleeve. Shit hits me really hard. Regardless of how I may come off to people, as a hard ass or too opinionated or too blunt or whatever the case. I don't want to see people fail. I like I said, I came from the insurance world where it was all about your coworker and lifting them up and making sure they made their money and they were successful. So I came from a really unique environment, but then I also, I was raised old school with my grandparents. So it's all about your neighbor comes first. Your family member comes first, or your children come first. If you got to do without, so they have, that's what you do. There's been plenty of times where, I've loaned money to someone that's in my life, with no idea if I get that money back. And I loan them money to pay a gas bill or a water bill, or I bought them groceries or helped them fix their car or loan them money for one of those type of topics. And then I'm in there eating ramen noodles. Like I've done that plenty of times in my life prior to the insurance world. Now they didn't know that, I'm not going to tell them that. I mean, hell, there's been times where, somebody close to me that's needed money like that. And that's the only money I had, and I gave it to them, and then I'm eating ramen noodles and drinking water, that week or something till the next payday. I don't know where we lost that. Cause that's when I was growing up in the 80s. That's how it was. Neighbors watched out for neighbors, especially when it came to elderly. I mean, shit, you just saw I think it was here, I think in Texas or Mississippi or Louisiana or Mississippi, here somewhere in the South, there was some elderly person that just died in the cold weather. I mean, they didn't have a neighbor that wouldn't go over there and check on them. I mean, you see what I mean? But to be fair, we're all guilty of that. I mean, I'm even guilty of that. I've been living in this building 8 years. I've watched at least 4 people move out of the apartment right next to me, and I've never spoken to any of them. I mean, there's a lady living in the apartment right next to me right now that moved in around mid part of last year, around fall maybe. I've never even spoken to her. Now, to be fair, I haven't crossed paths with her either because I'm in my house pretty much the majority of the time unless I'm out of town. I'm not hanging out on my, front of my apartment. But even when I lived in Memphis, in Bartlett, and I owned my home, I sat on my porch plenty of times, or outside washing my car, or working on my Mustang. And I'd see my neighbor come and go from across the street and next door. I think I spoke to him once in 5 years. So we're all guilty of that. I don't know what happened there. So yeah, if you're that type of person, sorry, I'm getting off on another tangent. So if you are that type of person that it does matter to you when other people do well, and then you find out, because sadly I've had people I've lifted up that I've given, hell, I've had some people I've given cover work to where nobody else gave them a second damn glance. And I gave them an opportunity to be published, and I find out they're shit talking me behind my back. They're doing cover work right now for other indie books because of me, and they're talking shit about me. So that's going to happen. So definitely learn to grow some thick skin, and for the most part, sadly, just stay away from everybody, because you'll learn who your small circles are that you can kind of hang out with and chat with and do stuff with that actually are good people. So you'll discover those and just stick with those. Don't worry about any of the others. Ignore them, because the sad truth of it is, when you start getting some steam and you start getting some popularity, they're going to hate your ass anyway. They're going to hate you because you're doing it better than them. They're going to hate you because you're outworking them, and they're going to hate you because it's your fault they're not doing better. So because they can't blame themselves, so they got to blame you. It is what it is. But now the other question, and then we'll wrap this up. The other question I get asked the most, because anytime someone asks me my opinion on this industry, and I give them that answer, everything I just told you guys to a more condensed version, of course. I tell them the truth, from the drama and bullshit to the highs and the lows. I tell them so they're prepared, because nobody ever told me. Is it worth it? That's the other question that they'll always ask when I explain everything, how I just kind of explained it to you. Is it worth it? Is this industry worth the long hours? Is it worth the headache? Is it worth the drama? Is it worth the petty bullshit? Is it worth all the travel and all the expense from tools and product and costs for shows and everything? Is it worth it? It's worth it if you can handle it. That's about the best answer I can give you. It's worth it if you can handle it. Because no matter how tired I am, how stretched thin I am, no matter how many rough days I might have, the minute I see the first fan and their interaction and how excited they are, it washes every bit of it away. Doesn't matter to me. Doesn't matter how my morning's going or what I was pissed off about or frustrated about or how tired I am. The minute I see the first damn fan, I'm grinning like an idiot and I'm on cloud nine. When I chat with them online, I'm having a great time. That's one of the reasons I go live so much. I like chatting with people. I enjoy talking to fans. Surprisingly, when I was younger, you probably couldn't have caught me fucking talking to anybody. Now you can barely get me to shut up. I learned that in the casino world, having to deal with fans as a dealer and a bartender. And then I learned it even more in the insurance world, training new hires and talking to clients. I like it. I want you guys to remember something. I'm not like most. I didn't leave some job that I hated and that was shitty to do this. I walked away from a $130,000 a year job without breaking a sweat. I was with them for 7.5 years. I was running the Memphis office with my co-MGA, Cherry. We ran that office for 6 years out of the 7.5 I was with the company. I made $130K a year without breaking a damn sweat, with zero drama, zero stress. And I walked away from that to do this. And so it's not a scenario of I hated my job and now I'm in this and I don't want to go back to that. So it wasn't that. I gave up a lot to do this. And don't get me wrong, I do well at this. And that's a huge, thank you to the fans for that. But I worked my ass off for this. And don't get me wrong, now I'm not saying I didn't work hard in the other. I worked hard in the other. But it wasn't, like I said, there was nothing stressful about that job. And they ain't nothing. And I don't give a shit what anybody says. I know money can be bad, but I'm telling you, as someone that went from dirt ass broke poor to even as a young adult working job to job, making minimum wage in a lot of situations, barely could pay my bills. And I had to choose between food or water or food or gas on a lot of occasions, to making 130,000 plus a year. They ain't no damn stress when you're making 100K plus a year in Mississippi. Now at that time I'm in East Tennessee. I mean in West Tennessee, around Memphis. But still, though, it's same price range for the most part on property and everything. Six figures is a lot. 130K bring home is a lot. You don't stress about shit. Oh, transmission went out in the car. Here you go. Here's here's your $3,000 to fix the transmission. Oh, the hot water heater went out. Okay, here's $1,000. When you're sitting around and you have $15,000 to $20,000 every single month sitting in your damn bank account, after bills are paid, you ain't stressing about shit. Oh, you need to go to the doctor? Here you go. So now, are there days, and then we'll wrap up, like I said, are there days where I second guess this because where I came from? Like I said, I didn't come from minimum wage job straight to this. I didn't come from a very physically demanding construction job to this. I didn't come from $40,000 a year job to this. I came from very cushiony environment. There's definitely some days where I go, what am I doing? And it's usually days where I find out about the drama, or I find out about the petty shit, because I can handle the work. Hard work don't bother me. I can handle that aspect. I can handle the pressure of that, the stress of that. I can handle that. I've done hard work since I was 16 years old, in general. So I can handle that. My first job was on a fucking farm, so I can handle hard work. That don't bother me. But the petty shit is the one that bothers me the most. Because it's something that's not needed. It's something that should have zero place in this industry. And I won't lie about it. It's the thing that bothers me a lot of days. It's knowing that people are running their mouth about you, or being underhanded and dirty behind your back and trying to hurt your career, just out of pure jealousy. You hadn't done shit to them. And there's more artists that would tell you that, but they don't speak up because it doesn't fix anything. It really doesn't. Nobody's going to change. Those people will always be that way, and they'll always treat you that way. It'll never change until you catch their ass with a proper ass whooping. Now that's when it'll change. But that's a whole nother ball game with bail money and shit. But that's the only thing that's ever had me debating whether I want to do this, because I can go back to because that's the other thing too. I can pick up the phone, call Danny in Memphis, say, hey, I want back in the office. I want back in that career. Shit. I set record numbers in that damn industry. They would have my OCD ass, workaholic ass back in there in a heartbeat. And he's told me, hell, he calls me, texts me every once in a while, hey, bud, how's it going? I just want to let you know, we're still here in the Memphis office. So I could go back in as quick as a text message and be making 20 grand a week, 30 grand a week in the next week or two. So that's always on my mind. So, like I said, the petty, selfish shit is the one that bothers me the most. And that's the one that makes me go some days, why am I doing this? I could go back to that. I don't have to deal with the petty. I don't have to deal with the drama. And I won't lie. Part of it's because I love this and I love the fans. I love the way they get excited about all this, because I don't have that anymore. For those that may not know, I quit collecting comics like 20 years ago. And, I got back into it a little bit 8 years ago when I started doing this as a career. I bought a whole bunch of books, slab books. I've owned Hulk 181s and ASM 129s and first appearances of tons of characters, like big, expensive books. I sold all of that shit about 4 years ago, because I just couldn't get back into it. So I don't have any of that. You know, when I'm at shows and I see all these artists that I followed growing up, there's no excitement. I go, oh, hey, there's so and so, there's so and so, and I keep walking. I barely even say anything to any of them. So I don't have that fandom anymore. I kind of lost that when I worked in the casino world, because I met, politicians, I met rock stars and musicians, I met actors and stuff, and a lot of the shitty attitudes and stuff kind of killed that fandom. So now I don't have it anymore. And when I'm at shows, I'm busy working the shows. I don't have time to go hang out with people and talk to them for the most part. So I kind of feed off that fandom from you guys. The way, because and it's not just about me. The way I see you guys get excited with other artists, which is one of the reasons I take it rather personal when I see other artists that don't have shit to do with me being shitty to people, because their fans are my fans. You know what I mean? For the most part. So yeah, that's one of the reasons I take it a bit personal when I see them act like douchebags. Um, but so part of it's that, I love the energy from the fans. I love the creating. I love sitting down and doing something that the majority of people in this world will never get to do, whether it's out of fear or they have no interest, um, or whatever the case, whatever their reasoning for not being in this industry. I get to sit down and do something that is a lot of people, including myself, childhood dream, to draw comics. Whether it's interiors or covers. So I'm getting to live a childhood dream that me and some of my friends always had. So that part of it's that, part of it's you guys. And I won't lie, part of it's a little bit of the ego-y kind of thing. If I walked away right now, they win. The assholes who talk shit, the pricks who started drama and tried to slander and all this other. If I walked away right now, they win, or at least that's the way I view it. So part of me doesn't want to give up, because they get to grin and laugh and point, and I don't. I just want to keep outworking them and outshining them. You know what I mean? Till they vanish. uh, so a little bit of it's kind of that petty ego thing. I don't want them to win, because that's the way it would be if I walked away right now. Some of them would throw a damn party, you know. And I'm not saying I'm special or important. It's just that's the way some of these people are. When they chase away the people that's out willing to outwork them, they think they've won. And that's all it really comes down to, is they're petty and jealous and lazy, and they want to try to attack you enough that you leave. That's all it really is. And it's not going to generate any more work for them. That's the dumbest shit about it. People aren't hiring them because they're hiring me because I'm better or whatever. It's because their ass is lazy. They miss deadlines. They completely screw over people. They do all this shit that creates negativeness, and then they blame everybody else that's shining. But anyway, all right, I'm going to get off here. Hopefully that answers some of you guys' questions about materials I use, product I use for creating art. Hopefully some of the insight about the path, how I got here, maybe helps a little. The most important thing is just do the work. Stop making excuses. Stop feeding yourself bullshit. Get off your ass and do the work. There's no super secret. That's really and truly how it's done. Get off your ass. Stop making excuses and just do the work. Just have this mindset that nobody's going to outwork you. That's how you're going to get more work and more jobs and more covers and more everything. Just have the mindset. Oh, you're sick today? You're taking the day off? Well, my ass is working. Oh, you don't feel like it today? You're going to play Xbox? Okay, have a good game. I'm going to go work. You work when everybody else is bullshitting. That's how you get ahead. There's your secret. You work when everyone else is bullshitting. Which one do you want more? Because I'm creating, one of the unique things about this, you need to realize you're creating a legacy when you do it this way. I'm immortal. I'm absolutely immortal from this point forward. No matter if I walked away tomorrow or I died tomorrow, it doesn't matter. My Psycho Sal's floating around the world. My cover art on different projects are floating around the world. They will always float around. I'm absolutely immortal. My kids will always see something about me at some point. One of my comics will pop up on their Facebook feed, or one of my comics will pop up maybe at a show that they're going to, or a piece of my art. I mean, here's your case in point of what I mean. My daughter Victoria sent me a PM about a week or two ago. She was hanging out with her boyfriend, Zach, and my daughters are kind of into comics in different ways, but she was explaining to Zach who the Bat Who Laughs was, and so she Googled Bat Who Laughs, and in the first 5 images that showed up on the Google main page was my drawing of the Bat Who Laughs. In the first 5 images on the little Google search, my picture of the Bat Who Laughs. I'm immortal, baby. So anytime my daughters Google something that I may have drawn, it's going to show up on Google. If they're at a show, the chances of them running across a piece of my art at somebody's table, or one of my books exclusives, there's good odds on that. So that's what you have to think about. Which one's more important? You creating a legacy with your name and technically, kind of becoming immortal, or you playing Xbox, or you watching some bullshit ass TikTok video, or something other than that. And that applies to everything. Go create music. Go write. Go follow your damn dreams that you wanted to do when you was a kid. Because with social media and the internet and everything, you could not ask for a better, easier time to do it. It's so easy for you to be exposed to everyone from all walks of life, all parts of the world. I have fans in New Zealand, in Europe, in Scotland. I mean, Scotland. Jesus, I'm tired. I got fans in all over. I got fans in Germany. Chase your dreams, man. We're a blink we're a blink in existence. If we're lucky, we might make it 75, 80 years old. I mean, I'm 50. According to statistics, I only have about 25 years. I'm on the downward slope. So, it's never too late to chase your dreams. Go write that book, go write that poem, go learn that music, that instrument, whatever it is, draw your comics, do whatever you want to do, man. You got time. You claiming you don't is a bullshit lie you tell yourself because you're scared to fail. I would a whole lot rather fail than never try. And it doesn't matter whether you're late to the game, because I just got here 8 years ago. I'm definitely late to the game. So, and anything's possible, man. So go cut loose, have fun with it. But I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great night. Also, guys, make sure you go grab one of the damn medals. You guys voted on those medals. I wasn't even going to do a medal for the new Batman print design and the new Ghost Rider. A lot of you guys on my page voted wanting me to do those medals. So get your little buns over there and claim one of those medals. There's only about 10 of each left for the pre-sale. Also, for you raffle guys who love my raffles, I just put up another mega raffle with 3 winners. First place is another one of those portfolio things that Comic Capsule designed that displays original art with the book and the COA. Beautiful display piece that you can put on the shelf or a wall, but it has the original 11 by 17 pencils to my Department of Truth Zero cover for Image Comics of Elvis Presley. It's got a signed copy of that book, Department of Truth Zero, in it, and it has my COA. That's first place prize. Second place prize gets a signed and remarked version of DOT Zero, and third place gets a signed copy of DOT Zero. That raffles up right now. Damn good odds, damn good entry fee. That's over $1,200 prize just the first place. Go grab some spots, guys. But damn sure go get you one of those medals. It's only a 30 print run of each. They come signed, they come numbered. They come with COAs, and only 20 each are available on the pre-sale. The 10 of each left over, I will take those to shows with me, and the only place you'll be able to get them is on my table at a show till they sell out. And metal sells stupid fast. So go grab one. You guys voted for it. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. You guys have a great night. You too, Michael. Everybody, Jim, thank you for hanging out. Like I said, I hope some of that helps you. Again, don't be afraid. Jump out there, take your chance. You got nothing to lose by trying, and you got everything to gain by doing it. So I love you. Be good. Talk to you guys later. Sorry about the Facebook thing. I don't know when I'll get to go live on Facebook again. The algorithm got me on that stupid shit off a joke. But everybody else can talk drama and start shit and harass people, and they don't get shit. But you make a joke and the algorithm gets you. And mine wasn't even a political joke. So, but anyway, you guys have a great night. Take care, guys.